Hello, everyone. So I'm really grateful to be here today. And for those that don't know me, I'm Darren Oconner, and my journey to coming together as part of First Congregational Church community began around 2014. After several years of activism working on housing justice around foreclosures, homelessness, and racial justice, the latter two, homelessness and racial justice, started becoming hot topics that organizers I became aware of were working on here in Boulder. I helped start a group called Boulder Rights Watch to address homeless people's rights, and I reached out to First Congregational to see if we might hold some of our meetings at the church. I got a very quick affirmative, and soon our church was host to many a meeting on this topic. Shortly thereafter, I joined another group organizing in the church, the Boulder Coalition and Alliance on Race, which eventually led to my helping to start the Boulder County branch of the NAACP, and which leadership in this church actively assisted me in doing around 2017. Along the way, I was asked to become a church member. Without the history of organizing that leadership at First Cong had supported me and others in doing, joining you as a congregation member would never likely have happened. When I was around 19 years old, I had lost most of my faith when I attended a church with my father in California, and though I was young, I quickly observed a lot of church members' very hypocritical displays of godly virtue that did not match their actions. And that turned me away from seeking a relationship with God and with them. And that went on for a good 25 years. As I became an activist, I began seeing parallels in the story of Jesus' life with the work many activists, including myself, do. We share messages many in power do not wish to hear. We challenge norms that are harmful and often do so at personal cost and risk. Inability to walk on water aside, these parallels struck me more and more as I did work here at First Cong, and I began to see something else, that the members of this church did not just attend Sunday services. They were actively engaged in feeding our unhoused neighbors, discussing local issues, including political ones, and they were taking action. This congregation began to very much impress me. You impressed me. Add to that the open and affirming values here, and when I was asked to join, I welcomed the invitation. Perhaps nothing opened my eyes to how special the people here are as attending men's breakfast. Every week, men come together on Friday mornings with a topic. We drink coffee, break bread, pray, and share with one another from the heart. I've come to love so many people in that room, and I've leaned on them and many others in our church when my personal life was difficult. During such time, some of you asked, how was I doing? And without much warning, I sought a hug, and maybe I cried in your arms. And you, as a church, as individuals, have been generous with your kindness, and this space has therefore also been one of solace and joy. I'm so grateful to be able to tell all of you that today. Thank you. Now, I think anyone that knows much about my activity in Boulder knows that where there's political conflict, there's a good chance I'm involved. I certainly talk openly about some of the issues that I work on, for example, in men's breakfast, and it's been a wonderful place for me to hear honest, even if differing perspectives in a loving space, and I really treasure that. I'm pleased to observe First Cong increasingly taking on issues of public concern, both within our walls and without. I'm witnessing that our collective understanding of our faith is guiding us together, not to just learn God's will, but to take action to see it affected. For example, First Congregational recently hosted a forum on racial bias in the district attorney's office. The topic of racial bias, in this case in the justice system, I think you'd agree, can be an uncomfortable one. And certainly there are those in our community themselves, good people, who would and did disagree with the positions presented. But nonetheless, knowing it was a potentially contentious issue, our church supported and even invited having that discussion here. It appears to me we are coming together even more, that we see a world in need, and we are walking, if not in Jesus' footsteps, then on the path he started, and we walk now with him in spirit. And dare I say, we are coming together even more to take positions and raise our collective voices. To each of you, to those who volunteer on the many boards within the church, to our ministers, to our staff and employees, and to those who attend and make this the welcoming space that it is, thank you for making this a church filled with love, from which, coming together, we are taking action to bring that love not only within our many-walled space, but also to our surrounding community. Thank you so much.